Assalamualaikum everyone, my name is Nitasha and welcome to another episode of Shaam Ki Chai, where I interview Pakistanis doing really cool things. And today I have with us Hira Hyder, who is a journalist at Hum Network, which I would argue is one of the largest media networks in Pakistan. Thank you so much for being with us, Hira.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm really excited because, like I've said, that Nitasha and I had this conversation before the interview, and there were such good and strong positive vibes that I was like, this interview is just going to be something else. I know it.
What part of Pakistan you and your family are from and where you grew up?
Okay, so it's a bit of a mixed plate because the thing is that, so my great Nana from my mother's side, he was actually UP's provincial general secretary for the Muslim League.
Way.
Yeah. So his name was Syed Mia, and he was a very prestigious personality in Sakkar, Pakistan. So basically from India, they migrated to Pakistan. They resided in Sakkar. And that's where my grandmother and my grandfather, they were first cousins. So they grew up there. They ended up getting married, and then they moved to the UAE when my mother was just in grade 3. So from then onwards, my family has just resided in the Middle East, in Dubai.
With all the news happening right now, I mean, it's probably going to be old news by the time this episode releases. But, you know, last week we just heard what happened to Noor and, you know, like, and all of these other women, 3 days, 3 hashtags this Eid. What is going on? Why is it going in the opposite direction?
I would primarily say that currently there are many shifts that have happened. Over the course of time, and the media does play a major role in it, because media is not only a reflection of the society, but it also influences the society. But I'm going to shed light on that a little later. Right now, I think the basic problem that is happening is with regards to our government. हमारी जो हुकूमत है, बिल्कुल हाथ उठा लिया है, औरतों की कोई इज्जत नहीं है, कोई प्लान ऐसा नहीं है कि किसी तरह से औरतों को बचाया जाए इन हैवानों से, इन दरिंदों से, जो कि ना कि सिर्फ आपके घर के बाहर होते हैं, बल्कि आपके घर की चार दीवारी में भी होते हैं.
Yeah.
How many cases are we hearing right now? And I'm sure that even though we are shooting this episode right now, even in the following weeks, the issue will be the same. Because we see that fathers are killing their daughters, brothers are killing their sisters. It's ridiculous. There is no accountability whatsoever. And with the domestic violence bill that was urged to be passed, it was completely brushed under the carpet. It's as if that women really do not have the right to live in Pakistan. And you know what? As an activist, and I do call myself that very proudly, because it's very difficult to be an activist for women, because you will get attacked by not only men, but also by women. There are lots of prevalent misogynistic ideologies which prevail within the mindsets of women, especially our Desi women. And they are allies of men rather than allies of women. Point being that it takes a lot of mental and emotional energy to advocate for women. Why? Because आप बात कुछ कह रहे होते हैं, वो अटैक किसी और चीज पे कह देते हैं. वो कहते हैं कि अच्छा, you're advocating for women's rights, तुम तो बाहर के मुल्क में बैठी हुई हो.
Right.
तुम पाकिस्तान में नहीं हो, तो तुम पाकिस्तान की औरतों के लिए क्यों बात करियो? बात ये नहीं है कि आप पाकिस्तान के बारे में बात करें या पाकिस्तान के बारे में ना बात करें. You stay away from the political, social issues. No, it's not about that. It's about truth and justice and advocating for basic human rights without being prejudiced, without being selective in your activism. Just because if I'm a Pakistani girl sitting here in Canada, it does not mean कि मैं चुप करके बैठी रहूंगी अगर पाकिस्तान में कोई जुल्म हो रहा है. Funnily, I actually got a very odd and strange DM by somebody who was in the Pakistani Air Force. And it's surprising how men from all walks of life are out there to attack women when they speak about women.
It turns around and it happens to your daughter, or it happens to your sister, and you're like, "Kya hua is dunya ko?" Like, what? Hello? You know what I mean?
दुनिया बहुत पहले से ऐसी थी. It's just that it's happened at home now. You know, that's the scary bit. And you know, what, Natasha, I also say this, that men are so adamant on maintaining their bro code that they will not utter a word against somebody who they know who is a rapist, an abuser, whatever you want to call it, a monster. But women, on the other hand, women will break their sisterhood merely just to not come off as a crazy feminist. And I find that astounding. I mean, till when are we going to keep pleasing men with the way how we think, with the way how we talk? We're independent human beings.
Yes, I know we've talked a lot about media and we've dived right into it, and we didn't even get to know why you got so interested in media. I mean, and I know we're backtracking a little bit, but that's totally fine. But tell us where that interest started.
Okay, so जब भी लोग मेरे स्कूल में या मुझसे यूनिवर्सिटी में, or even now when they meet me, you know, मजाक में हंसी मजाक में कहते तुम तो इतना बोलती हो. That's not my fault. It's not my problem. मैं तो 10 महीने से I was speaking. So I think it was a gift from Allah, literally, and I thank Allah a lot that people appreciate my writing and my verbal skills, because it's all a gift from Allah. And I think it showed when I was nearly 10 months old, because I started to form words very clearly. And by the time I was a year old, I was clearly singing poems. I was running around. On my first birthday, my Nana was literally to the photographer that today is going to be a very challenging day for you, because you have to take a standing still picture of Hira Hyder. Agar aap kar lein, to wo bahut badi baat hogi. So literally on my first birthday, like there are rare pictures of me actually standing. Otherwise, I'm literally in somebody's boat. Someone's holding me tight and I'm like trying to leave. So, I mean, with age, then that grew, you know. I mean, I finished my first novel at the age of 7, and that was Harry Potter. Even before that, I was reading tons of books. I know, you're a Potterhead too. Oh my God. So, I mean, my passion for reading began from there. At a very young age, I would write short books. In like grade 3, I think I wrote my first one. And, you know, I've always had diaries and journals. And by the time I reached high school, so I went to Cambridge International in Dubai, and it was a British private school, so very preppy. But I think I fit right into it, because in grade 8, when I migrated from a public school Canadian scenario to a British school in Dubai, it was a big shift, but I think it really molded me. So I remember I was in second year university, and this was 2012-ish. That a friend of mine said that, you know, hey, Hira, I know that there's a Pakistani channel, it's K2 TV, the first and only bilingual channel in Pakistan, and the only one which had a station within Dubai. So this was when I was already enrolled in the American University of Sharjah. So he was like, they're having auditions and they need a live TV show host. And, you know, you're already studying journalism, might as well go. Right. I was really stressed because I was like, pata nahi amma ka kya reaction hoga. See, when you're younger, you really don't know how your parents are going to react. But as you grow older, you know how they will. You know how they can behave. So, you know, you learn with time. So at that point, I was really like, you know, 19-year-old skeptical. And I'm like, oh God. So I went to Amma and I told her, and she heard me out. She didn't snub me. She listened to me. And I was rambling. I'm like, so this is it. I'll be getting paid full time, and I'll be going out to cover news stories. It'll be a live TV show every week. I'll be interviewing celebrities, Air Force pilots, everything, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, I lost my breath. I'm like, can you say something?
Something. Yes. No. What is
Yeah, exactly. Like anything. And she was like, look, I think I'm going to let you do it. But the thing is that I want to go to the channel with you. I want to speak to your manager, the station manager. And because I was just a 19-year-old, I'm really glad that she did that. And I wasn't irritated or annoyed, because my mother, from a very young age, she made us children realize that when she says no, it's not because it's according to her mood. It's because there's a logical reason. So she made us have that faith in us. She built that trust. Right. So here we went and we spoke. And when we came home, she said, it's a yes from my end, but never forget the family that you belong to, the values that I've raised you with. And if you're great, if your GPA goes down, I'm pulling you out.